Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be looking at the new for us on the PlayStation anyway, Tier 4 Russian premium medium tank, the A-32, when I can get my words out. Now it's in the store at the minute, ranging from about 2,900 for the base pack, up to I think about 4,800, something like that for the the sort of loaded pack with boost stops and 7 days of premium, etc, etc. Now, what it is, according to the blurb, it was developed at the same time as the A20. Some of these were actually put into service, I think it was, and it later basically evolved into the T34, which is understandable because it looks very, very similar, especially to a stock T34. Now, it does have it does share similarities between the A20, but it does have thicker armour, but it does have a very, very good top speed as well of 70 kilometers an hour, and a really good power to weight ratio, but we'll look at all that in a moment. Now, while we are here though, I will mention that it gets preferential matchmaking, so it won't see anything higher than tier 5, and its bonuses are 44% silver and 48% XP, so not too bad there either. And it's armed with a 76mm howitzer, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Razanai, which is strange because I don't really care for that, but this is actually quite a fun tank. Now, you get a 540 horsepower engine, so it's quite a decent sized engine, and the 76mm on this is, well, it's the L10U, which is very, very similar to the 76mm howitzer you can get on the A20, whereas but that gets, I think, a rate of fire around 10 rounds a minute and 68 pen on its armor piercing rounds. This gets 13.12 rounds a minute with only 66 pen, so it's only slightly less pen on your armor piercing, with 110 damage, 75 on your heat, which are your premium ammo for this, with the 110 damage again, and then your HE 38 164. Now, I do carry a few HE in it, but I have actually been using the armor piercing, because the 66 pen, with this not getting anything higher than tier 5, is, well, it's good enough to pen most things you'll come up against. There's only a few tanks that you'd probably have to use your heat, or maybe even switch to your HE just to do a bit of damage, but not many. DW2 is a bit tricky. Churchill's as well can be a bit tricky. So there are a few things up at tier 5, but in tier 4, 66 pen, well, apart from the DW2, which is tricky in a tier 4 match, and sometimes the M3 Lee, that's enough to pen most things I've come up against, actually, so far. I've not tested it against a howitzer yet, though, so that one could be a bit trickier, maybe heat or high explosive for that, but anyway, I digress. Aiming time is 2.29 seconds, that's slightly better, I think, than the equivalent on the A20. With a better accuracy as well, I think that's about 0.51, this is 0.44, so still not great, but not too savage for a howitzer. It's not brilliant, you're not really going to be hitting anything on the move unless you're very, very close, and it can be a bit of a pain at range, but it's so fast and fun, this, that I kind of forgive it that. Now, traverse on the hull is 40 degrees a second, which isn't too bad when you sat still. It does feel, well, it's not too bad turning at speed. It's it's not overly savage. You do need a fairly wide circle, but liberal use of the handbrake normally sorts that out. And your turret traverse is 40 as well, with a view range of 320 meters and a signal range of 440, which feels a little bit low. But then again, it is a tier 4, and like I've said before, you kind of forget what's the average for down at tier 4. But I think that view range might be slightly low for a tier 4, but only slightly. Now, supplies, a nice and cheap 30 for your armor piercing, quite an expensive 2,800 for your heat, but then again you have got a good silver bonus on this, so I wouldn't go firing too many, but you can fire a few and still make a profit quite easily. And 38 for your HE. You can put camo on this one, there's no perma camo. Consumables, I've been boring and just gone for the standard. I've not really actually checked the fire chance on this, so yeah, not too sure on that one. Now, skills wise, well, apart from your basics, such as Sixth Sense and camouflage, that sort of thing, something I would put on this is Controlled Impact, the ramming skill, because it's really quite good at ramming stuff when you're top tier, and it's really quite fun because it's got fairly decent armor, it can go very, very fast. So yeah, I have ram killed a few things, so yeah, that's something I'd definitely put on it. Maybe off-road driving to try and improve the terrain resistances. They're not too bad, but if you can make them better, then obviously that would be even better. Maybe smooth ride or snapshot I think could possibly be better, but I'd say you want repairs on here. But yeah, definitely controlled impact would be a good one to have. Maybe clutch braking as well, and situational awareness obviously. So there's some of the ones I'd probably recommend with it, but it depends on how you want to play it and what your style is. Anyway, moving along, let's have a look at the modules. Well, as I said before, 540 horsepower engine, which translates to quite a large engine in here. In fact, it takes up the whole back half of the tank and some portions there in the sort of hull shoulders, if you want to call them that. So yeah, maybe preventative maintenance might be a good one to take. But it does give you a good power to weight ratio of 27.78. It does zip along quite nicely and get up to speed really quite well, with a reverse speed of 20 kilometers an hour and not so bad, 15% chance of fire. Now with your gun, you've got 22 degrees of elevation, which is nice, quite workable. There's not much that'll get above you and you'll not be able to shoot back at them, so yeah, that's quite nice. And not too bad, -7 degrees of gun depression. Some of the Soviets are sort of -6, -5 on the odd one I think here and there, so -7 is not too bad, it's workable. And it does allow you to sort of increase the angle on your frontal armour as well. Tracks are a nice solid unit, and your terrain resistances are 1.03, 1.14 and 2.06. So yeah, off-road driving will just improve those slightly as well, but they're not too savage. Concealment as well, while we're here, is 0.28 stationary and 0.21 moving, so it's fairly sneaky as well. It's not got bad concealment. Radio is just under the rear of the turret, just before the raised engine deck, and in fact that's just behind one of the engine components. Don't forget the front part of there. If you shoot that, you could theoretically damage the engine, hopefully. Well, I say hopefully not mine anyway. Ammunition blocks, they're actually set low down in the tank, on the tank floor, directly below the turret, just below the top of the track. So if you aim below the turret towards the top of the tracks, you should hopefully hit ammo rack. And there is also one that takes up the whole back of the turret, so that overhang there is just one ammo rack. So that's another, when I can talk again, that's another nice place to go for if you're wanting to try and pop the turret off one of these things. Crew members, you've got 4. Driver and, I would assume, radio operator and machine gunner possibly down in the front of the hull. And then you've got the commander, who will probably double up as the loader up there with the gunner. And there's no commander's cupola in here, there's just a bit of a periscope viewport for him. Now, armour profile, well, your basic figures are 35 all around the turret, I think it is, yep. 35 on the front of the hull, 30 on the sides, and 16 on the rear. So not very good on the rear, but the front and sides aren't bad for a tier 4, especially with that really good sloping there. So 35mm down at tier 4 with that sloping. I can definitely attest to the fact that if you put a bit of angling on this, you can bounce a few shots from it when you're top tier. So it's not too bad. Maybe not from some of the heavies, but definitely at medium range from some of the mediums and lights. But let's have a look at the actual sort of the actual figures. Oh, health as well. It's something I always forget. You've got 360 hit points. Now, I'm not sure if that's average for the tier. I haven't looked at that because I normally forget the hit points. So I will try and have a little check at the end of this. Anyway, 1 to 20. Well, that covers the engine deck, top of the turret, the whole rear of the tank, upper and lower glacis, and the tracks, and they will act as an amount of spaced armour, and the whole floor's in there as well. 21 to 30. Well, that's your machine gun port on the front, so on these that is a weak spot, so if you are struggling to get through the front, go for the machine gun port. The whole side of the tank above and below the tracks, parts of the gun mantle or mounting, and I think that's it for that one. But yeah, that's definitely is a weak spot on the front, so do bear that in mind when you shoot at one of these. Now, 31 to 35. Well, the turret is 35 all round, and that's just what it shows. Gun mantle / mounting all around the turret, 35mm, and same on the front. Now, upper and lower glacis are both 35mm, and they've both got quite a nice sloping to them, especially the upper. Now, 51 to 70. No exact figure for this, but that thin strip across the front that joins the upper and lower glacis, that is the thickest arm on this thing. So if you are shooting at one of these, try not to hit that part. You want to be going for the machine gun port if you can't pen the front, otherwise try and get around the sides of it. And when you're in one of these, you want to obviously angle, you want to try and hide your machine gun port if you can, if you're side scraping, whatever, and you can side scrape in this quite well. You know, you've got sloping to your sides as well, which does increase the effective thickness. So yeah, it can be quite a nice little side scraping tank in cities, and you can just sort of derp them in the face with your sort of fairly high damage 76mm howitzer. But there you go, that's it in the garage. I don't think there's much else to say about it other than it's quite a fun little tank. I haven't been enjoying it, but I've found it sort of quite difficult to take it seriously, and not in a bad way, just sort of difficult to play seriously in it because it's so fast and fun. But let's get into the replays and see how it actually handles. Right, so here we are for the first of the replays. 3 shortish ones for you tonight with this review, and if you could hear a bit of a humming noise in the garage review and in most of my garage reviews, I do apologise. That is my PlayStation 4. It's getting on in years a little bit now, and yeah, just a bit noisy, so I do apologise. I try to filter it out as much as I can afterwards, but some of it does get through, unfortunately. Now, this is a tier 4 match. It is the very first match that I played in this, and I've not played many matches in it actually. I've got just under 10,000 XP, as you saw in the garage, but it's just great fun. I just jumped in it, went in this first match, and kind of fell in love with it a little bit, and I can imagine it being quite a good crew trainer. I did say in the garage I don't particularly take it too seriously, or I find it difficult to play seriously in it, if you see what I mean. It's just so fast and fun. But yeah, I do like it, I must admit. This is not a loaner, this one. This is actually mine. I'd done a little bit of research into this one before it came into the store, and thought, yeah, do you know what? I would like to have that. I think it's going to be good fun, and I am not disappointed. It is a great, fun little tank. I mean, if you're not a fan of playing down at tier 4, then it's obviously not going to be for you. And don't be put off by the howitzer. That was the one thing that was kind of making me nervous about it, in a way, was the howitzer. But I saw the pen on it at 66, and like I say, that's quite good for down at tier 4. That's enough to get through most things when you can hit, and at the moment, unfortunately, I cannot. But yeah, these are not the 3 best games that I had. These are just 3 average games. I think I've only had about 6 in it, if that. So yeah, these are just sort of 3 average games. So I'm just trying to get some shots. We're not looking very good down that side of the map, unfortunately. And yeah, there's a light tank now making a rush for our RT, so I'm going to spin it around. And you can see it picks up speed. I mean, I was going down a bit of a sort of a downslope there, but still, even on the flat when I first started, you could see just how quickly it moves. Lead the target a fair bit. The shell velocity is not too savage on it. I've had worse, definitely had worse howitzers. And that guy there couldn't pen me at all. And I had no problem penning him. Well, apart from the first one that got eaten by the tracks. Now this Panzer 3J over there just missed him. I'm going to slide down here and try and intercept these guys as they come along. It's looking a bit hairy though, because the friendlies that were up here are no more. But hopefully there is a bit of backup via that tank destroyer behind me. There's a Chi-He. Didn't aim that one, that was just a lock on, but it went in and hit him. Well, of course it hit him. It went in. Yeah, it hit him and then went through, so not too bad on there. And like I say, in a tier 4 match, the things you've got to watch out for are DW2s. They are your bane in a tier 4 match, they really are. And I think 2 of these replays I come up against DW2. Tier 5 matches, obviously DW2s, Churchills, the front of a T1, T1? Yeah, T1 Heavy. Yeah, the front of a T1 Heavy. nice little flick of the handbrake there, even if I do say so myself, to get it round, although you do have to wait for the turret to catch up when you use the handbrake in this thing. And I'm going to try and keep myself angled as I speed towards this guy, and I've managed to bounce a few of his shots, put one into him, use the handbrake again, and managed to take him down. Now here's a DW2 though. First one goes in, luckily, and sets him on fire, which is nice, but you'll see now, although did that one go in? I don't know if it did, his health bar wasn't there, but I'm fast enough to circle him. I'm having to go in a fairly wide circle though, because the traverse isn't great, but that one bounced, and unfortunately I've been tracked. That one did go in though, thankfully, and can I reload to get one in? Oh, never. If that one had gone through, that could have possibly killed him, maybe. 89 health, yeah, if that had gone in, that would have killed him, but then again, I may not have survived anyway. I think there was somebody else shooting at me, but first match out in it, great fun, 894 damage done, 322 blocked, with 3 kills, and that put me just at the top of the table there, so quite happy with that one, although you can see the inaccuracy, although some of that was my own fault firing on the move. 19 shots fired and not many actually hit the target. But it's not down to the penetration, that is generally down to the accuracy. Now this one is a tier 5 match, so this is the worst you're going to see really. I mean, admittedly you might get into a match with all tier 5s and just yourself, but you know, that doesn't happen particularly often. So again, I'm going to use my speed. View range is a bit iffy. What you could do with this, I never mentioned equipment in the garage, did I? Completely forgot. Well, I've got a gun lane drive because the aim time's not great. I've got a gun rammer because it's got quite a decent rate of fire for the gun on it, for the amount of damage it does, so I'll just increase that even more. And I went for vents. I went for vents basically just to improve everything, you know, acceleration, all that sort of good stuff. Even though it's already very good, why not make it better? But having played in it a few times, I am actually very, very tempted to take the vents off and replace them with coated optics. I think with situational awareness and coated optics, this would actually make a pretty good active scout. And you're fast enough to get alongside things and, you know, put a shell through the weaker armour of the stuff that's too tough to get through the front. But I definitely am considering putting coated optics on it, especially because the crew I've got in it at the minute, I've got situational awareness on, I think. So that would give it a fairly decent view range. Yeah, firing on the move, not so much of a good idea, as you can see. It is very inaccurate while firing on the move, but that's what I mean about the ramming. It makes a very good ramming tank, so controlled impact would be good. Now, I've taken a hit there. There's another A-32 up that way, and I've got to get behind here, try and give myself a bit of a respite, but nope. There's a T-34, the A-32's bigger brother. He's going to have a go. Did he miss? I don't think it bounced that. I think he did miss. However, I am not missing, which is nice. And if I can keep moving and keep angled, that was close. That was a mercy roll for me. Can I reload first? I can. And yeah, that was very lucky. Although, yeah, 12 health is not a good situation to be on. Like I said, you know, 3 quick little matches. This might have been my second match, or my third, possibly. I can't remember now. Second, I think. No, third. Yeah, I think it was third. Now, I've swapped to heat because there's a Matilda up there, but I completely donked my shot against him, and I've just forgotten to swap. Yeah, swip. Cross between switch and swap. But yes, I forgot to change back. There you go. So the T28 gets a dose of heat, and that's when I remember to actually swap back. And I've got to be very careful here. They know I'm here, but I might be able to side scrape off this. I can. Yeah, he's bounced. Can I get another one? Nope. That one didn't bounce, unfortunately. But at the end of that one, it was a defeat, unfortunately. Again, 150 assisted and 730 damage done myself. But even though I died early on, still came out with a couple of kills and top of the table. The enemy KV-1S looked like it had a fairly decent game, 1500 damage. But like I said before, it's a good, fun little tank. This its Tankopedia price I think is 2,500, and like I said in the store, it's from about 2,900 and up in various different bundles. But yeah, you know, if you're looking at this and think, do you know what, that really looks like it's my sort of thing for a little fun crew trainer, I would definitely seriously consider it, because I am enjoying it. But like I say, if you're not a fan of howitzers, that type of gun, then, you know, really do think hard about it, because it's just one of those tanks. I mean, like I say, I don't like the Razanai particularly, and this is very, very similar. But for some reason I like this. Maybe it's because of the added little bit of protection from the armour, possibly. And I think this is even a bit faster as well. I can't quite remember how fast the Razanai is now. Missed the looks. I did go to lead him because I thought he was going to back up. I don't know if he got tracked or just stopped. But I missed, unfortunately. But it's a T-28 making a push up this way. Really, he's quite far over, and I'm going to try and get as close as I can before firing. I missed. He didn't, unfortunately, but that time I did get one in. Use the handbrake to get round again, facing him, and just managed to shave off the last bit of health. And again, I probably could have got another shot in, maybe if I didn't handbrake, but I was reloading at the time. It would have been nice for the first shell to go in, but hey well. Hey well. I really can't talk tonight again. I don't know what's been up with me the last few days. Hey ho. These things happen, and like I said, it's not particularly good at firing on the move, so maybe smooth ride, possibly. But you are going that, you know, pretty damn fast. So I don't know how much help it will be. Now, Panzer 4A, he just clips me, but I guess I've got a bit more armour then. It didn't really seem to do much to me, but it did enough to him to send him back to the garage. Enemy RT was after me up there as well, but now I'm not on radar. I should be alright. And let's see what we can do at the enemy cap. Now, there's an M3 Lee. That's another one that from the front can be a bit of an issue. You might have to fire a couple of heat rounds at it, possibly. Marder 2, that shouldn't be a problem. And that was a nice, good hit. Oh, don't know where that one went. That went slightly low, and he's going to get away from me. Yep, he is. Right, let's try and get a bit closer. There's the M3 Lee. Can I get RT? Yeah, he's moving up. Lead him just a bit and track him. Can I get the hit? I can. I get enough to take him out. There's the M3 Lee. Now he's going to come out there. And it just bounced off his gun shield and sort of drove into it. And then the light tank took that one instead. And that one went just over it. It's like a Benny Hill sketch or something. With the M3 Lee chasing the light tank round. And me just firing shells in and missing or bouncing every time, or just somebody getting in the way. Finally, I managed to hit him and penetrate. But now he's, well, I don't know. I think that's the light tank, so yeah, I don't know what happened to him through Lee, why he decided to go that way, but it allowed me to get a shot into him to take him out of the battle and send him back to the garage. Now, unfortunately, there is another DW2 on more or less full health. And I did say before, the DW2 is the bane of this tank. And it is. Because although you could fire heat at it, and sometimes, you know, your rounds do go through like that, I could fire heat, but it's got big tracks. So from the side, I've not got many options or a particularly good shot at sort of flat side, so the heat won't get eaten up by the tracks. So yeah, DW2s are a bit of a pain, do be wary of them. But again, came at that one quite well. It was a victory. T28 that's on the table below me, he actually won that match, so well done to him. He did quite well at the end there. But I came at that with an ace tanker and 930 damage done. So there you go. That's the A-32 Tier 4 Russian premium medium tank. In my opinion, great fun little crew trainer. Like I said, it's hard to sort of drive it seriously. You just tear around. Well, I say semi-seriously. Tear around, driving up to people and just putting a fairly high damage shell through the side of them, or you can sit back and try and lob in some HE or some heat rounds, sort of medium range, and it's quite a good side scraper in the cities as well. But there you go. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you found it entertaining and informative as well. I'll be back tomorrow with another video for you. More than likely, road to tier 10, the sort of continuation of that. I'm at tier 6 now in that one, so yeah, hopefully I'll be doing that tomorrow. But until then, take care out there, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.